A Star Wars fan, revolutionizing electronic skin. An anime lover, 3D printing bespoke pills. A Taekwondo black belt breaking new ground with healthier carbs. A tech whiz with a gadget to kill noise. A plant lover turbocharging their air purifying power. And a Tetris fanatic reinventing cleaning robots. These are Singapore's Wizards of Tech. In this episode, tech wizardry for the world at large. A bike helmet that saves lives. A drone that does the work of bees. And making magic from waste. This is Prof. Duong Hai Min, doing things professors usually do. And here he is, doing the rather unexpected.
I love it. I can fly.
Aerogel is a type of performance in which the artists hand themselves in the fabric and do acrobatic performance. I like it because it helped me to improve the upper body strength, also the flexibility and my abs. Sometimes in the middle of the air, the Eureka movement pop up in my mind.
And so it happened. After his swirls and twirls,
I'm exhausted.
a stroke of magic.
I usually bought the water for drinking, but after I finish it, I see a lot of bottle in the studio and around the world as well. So I just wonder, can we recycle them into high-value material?
Plastic waste. Singapore alone produced 930,000 tons of it in 2019. Only 4% was recycled. Prof. Duong's solution? This. Using PET bottles to reinvent Aerogel. The lightest solid in the world. Aerogel is a synthetic material with extremely low density, commonly used in building construction for heat and sound insulation. Commercial aerogel is made of silica. During manufacturing, toxic organic solvents and carbon dioxide are released into the environment.
We use the recycled PET fiber from the plastic bottle waste, and during the manufacturing, we don't receive any organic solvent and greenhouse gases into the environment. So for the A4 size, we can make up from the one plastic bottle. To cover the whole stadium field, we need about 100,000 plastic bottles, so we can solve environmental problem.
Aerogel has several beneficial characteristics. Duong made sure his upcycled version is no different. For one, it can be fire-resistant.
We put the Jello on the pan, and then we just heat it up with the flow-torch. You can see the Jello melted in 15 seconds. Now with the aerogel caught with heat-resistant chemical, they can stand up to 600 degrees C, and you can see that the jelly not melted, and it still be safe to eat the jelly.
Duong also sees his PET aerogel being used for making thermal protection jackets. They are 11 times lighter and 7 times more heat-resistant than firefighting jackets. They also cost 5 times less.
Fireproof, but I look fiery hot.
Our tech maverick, with a rather keen sense of fun, also sees his super material used to battle another of the world's serious problems: oil spills.
Plastic aerogel can convert into the water-repellent material. When we treat it, and coated with the water repellent chemical. It will float on the surface. They don't absorb any water, they absorb only oil, and they can use it for the oil spill cleaning.
Time to put his Aerogel's oil absorption to the test.
So the process should be less than 2 minutes. Our aerogel can absorb oil quicker than the commercial one. That means you can use less material and will be quicker, and the cost of your oil spill cleaning process will be reduced a lot. When I see the oil spill, I feel terrible because it hazards the marine life. Also, it hazards the future generation as well.
PET Aerogel is only the start. Next in line, car tire waste. Every year around the world, more than 1 billion car tires are discarded. Only 40% is recycled. The majority is burnt, releasing toxic greenhouse gases. But Duong and his team have also figured out how to make aerogel from car tires. PET plastic? Check. Tire rubber? Check. Next up, agricultural waste.
Every 1 kilo of the pineapple will generate about 3 kilos of the pineapple leaf weight. The pineapple aerogel is the natural fiber, so they are biodegradable and very eco-friendly. We can use it for the baby diaper and food preservation.
Fruits and vegetables produce ethylene when they ripen and rot. Pineapple aerogel treated with active carbon powder can absorb the ethylene.
This can slow down the rotting process of the banana for at least 14 days. This can be used for preserve the vegetable and the fruit during the transportation.
No stopping Duong on his aerogel roll. He just explored soya bean and used coffee grinds as new materials to turn into aerogel. And after that,
I love aerial silk, maybe silk.
still to come.
About 50% of all fatal crashes actually involve motorcyclists.
Bikers on a road safety mission. At 20-something years old, these guys enjoy life best, going fast or even a bit slower.
What I really like about riding is the control of the machine, being able to shift gears and everything, so it's like a master of the machine.
I like the thrill and excitement because it's very liberating.
We are friends, and the fact that we can ride together fosters the sense of togetherness and friendship.
As much as we love riding, safety is, of course, our top priority.
But safety is not always guaranteed.
I was a medic for 2 years with the Singapore Emergency Services. Through my tenure, I actually see a lot of horrific accidents. Motorcycles make up about only a quarter of the population of vehicles in Singapore, but about 50% of all fatal crashes actually involve motorcyclists.
One of the common causes of motorcycle accidents, blind spots.
So this is the rear view mirror of the car. As most of you guys have seen it before, it is mostly placed up here, and this gives driver a better field of view of what's happening at the back. So the car actually has both the rear view mirror and the left and the right side mirrors. But for riders, we only have 2 mirrors to rely on, and side mirrors have a lot of blind spot. So let me give you an example of the blind spot. I'm looking through this side mirror. Although it shows that there's no one behind me, Glenn's actually standing on his bike behind me now. I'm not sure what he's doing, dancing around, folding around Glenn being Glenn, but anyway, if Glenn would choose to speed up and I fail to see him on my side mirror because he's in my blind spot, and if I want to turn to the right, that will result in a collision, and that would be very bad.
To help riders protect themselves, these biker buddies have built Argon Transform. It instantly changes any ordinary motorcycle helmet into high-tech safety gear.
What I have over here is the Argon Transform. And over here is the rear view camera, whereby all the vital information is transferred to the front through this screen display over here. So here I go, wearing this Argon Transform fitted helmet. The Argon Transform covers a view of 170 degrees, covering up to the blind spot. What I couldn't see previously on my side mirror, I can now see on my screen display over here, whereby I can see Glenn in the blind spot area.
This is our team. My name is Dylan, and I'm the hardware guy. This is our computer nerd.
Yeah, I'm Hafiz. I'm in charge of software.
My name is Lim Chin. I'm the design guy, and
we don't know what this guy does.
My name is Glenn, and I do sales and marketing. So basically, you guys need me lah.
Oh
Yeah. We definitely need you.
It's always like this, man.
4 bikers, 4 different skill sets, but with one mission, making riding safe.
What really spurred us to come together to make this product was a mutual friend of ours, a biker, got into an accident. That really kind of made us think and really inspired us to commercialize this product.
At first, the guys wanted to come up with an all-new helmet. But when they surveyed other riders...
So actually, we initially started this, making a full helmet solution. But after interviewing over 200 riders, most riders, they like their own helmet. We actually pivoted based on that. And that's why we came out with the full helmet attachment that you can see over here.
Our device is actually very easy to fit on the helmet. We can just fit in the front piece as such, connect the USB-C cable to it, and then we just snap and fit the back piece. There, as easy as it gets.
Quick to strap on and very light. Weighing 150 grams, it's about the weight of an orange. Together, the whole device weighs no more than your smartphone. The Argon Transform comes with plenty of additional safety features, like this handy Bluetooth panel.
This is a little button that attaches to your handlebar of the motorcycle. So with this, you can actually pick up calls and change your music and really access all the functions of the device.
And then there's the screen itself. Besides providing rear-view vision, it displays details like speed and maps.
Argon Transform uses AR or augmented reality, which is able to superimpose information like the GPS. So oftentimes we see riders looking down on their handlebars to check for their GPS directions. With our device, we actually want to keep everything within the field of vision of what the rider sees on the road. With the projected image, it's not a distraction for riders because we actually give users the flexibility of adjusting it to their own preferred location. Like, so you can put it on the left side or the right side of the helmet.
3 years in the making, hundreds of views sought, and now ready for market. The device has gone through many revisions.
I can't really remember how many, and that kind of shows how many iterations you get, you know what I'm saying? So as you can see, we are actually packing plenty of features, and everybody just keep asking for more and more. But at the same time, they want to shrink down the entire product. And there's only so much we can do based on the laws of physics. So it is actually quite a bit of a challenge. We had a lockdown, but we did not let it stop our process in terms of manufacturing and delivering it. We chose to do the assembly of the entire product ourselves.
Their first order of 100 devices are now assembled and ready to be shipped out. And these bikers turned wizards of tech are revved up despite the uncertain times.
We were definitely a bit nervous about launching the product during this pandemic, and we don't really know how people will take to the product. But currently, we actually received overwhelming support from our customers to keep us going. Another thing that we're excited about is really diversifying the product. One of the biggest names in the transport industry, ComfortDelGro, actually approached us to actually co-develop an intelligent driving circuit. What we are thinking of doing is letting riders put on this smart helmet, ride a single run around the circuit, and we can actually tell you whether you've rode well or whether there are some parts where you can improve on. Really nervous, but really exciting times. But I really hope to see more of our Ironman helmets on the roads in the future.
Coming up, a tech geek who's all about the birds and the bees.
We're here to build technologies that optimizes pollination.
For Siddharth Jadhav, his calling began with his love for birds.
Birdwatching is really close to my heart ever since I was a child. Having seen so many kinds of birds and how they can fly in a different fashion, it really invoked my curiosity in flight. And I think that's where I got interested in flight as a technical topic. When I got into school for engineering, I joined the aerodynamics club of the university. And that's where a lot of us would build these hobby drones, airplanes, fly them, crash them. And it was a fantastic learning curve for me.
Today, drones are no longer just a hobby for Sid. It's his full-time job. For the past few years, he's been building a drone that does the job of one of nature's hardest workers, bees.
So a fun fact is that male bees are called drones. And that's the inspiration for the term when it comes to these drones as well.
And the job that Sid's drone does is self-pollination, where pollen is transferred from the male to the female parts of the same plant or flower.
Let's look at an example of pollination in action as it happens in the nature. And our example here is strawberries, which have open flowers. What you have is the female parts in the center, surrounded by the male parts, which have pollen grains on them. Now, a bee visits a flower. So here's a very sculpted, handsome-looking bee that we have for pollination. And it's out foraging. So what it'll do is pick up the pollen, which is basically their food. And in that process, pollen grains end up sticking on their feet. They end up transferring some pollen from the male parts on the surroundings to the female parts in the center. It's kind of a happy accident, and now this flower has a chance of turning into a beautiful looking berry such as this one.
On the other hand, crops like tomato and eggplant have flowers which are more tubular. For the bees to get to the pollen, they will need to vibrate the flowers at a certain frequency so that the pollen grains are dislodged from the male parts and may land on the female parts. This is called buzz pollination. Regardless of method, commercial farms depend on successful pollination for their fruit crops. But for land-scarce countries like Singapore, where vertical farms are becoming more popular, pollination is a tricky proposition.
You cannot use bees in indoor vertical farms because bees need UV spectrum to navigate. And it's not something that we can introduce artificially in an indoor environment. The other is that a lot of countries actually do not even have access to bees. They're going to run into the problem of pollination because there is no alternative. And it's all going to come down to manual pollination, which is extremely expensive and inefficient.
In manual pollination, farmers use a variety of tools for both tubular and open flowers.
But I'm standing here just casually pollinating one strawberry flower. But if you have to pollinate a few thousand flowers a day, how good a job do you think you can do?
And this is where Sid's drones come in. Called PolyBee, it offers a high-tech alternative to manual pollination.
So what we have developed is a method of pollination which is more similar to buzz pollination, wherein the downward draft of the drones ends up vibrating the flowers at certain frequencies to dislodge the pollen. Now, this exact method can also be used to pollinate the open flower crops like strawberries. One may argue that why not just use fans to do this? The issue is fans have a certain kind of flow which is largely to just get the air moving. But that kind of draft of air is not what will end up dislodging the pollen grains. So you need to find just the right amount of vibrations that are present in your downdraft that will maximize pollination in certain flowers. we iterated on size of the propellers, the level of turbulence in each of these propellers. How long are you exposing this draft to flowers? And that's how we started converging on the right mix of things that optimizes pollination. We have reason to believe that our solution can improve yields by 20 to 30% as compared to manual pollination.
Polybee doesn't just do a better job than a human, it ensures top quality pollination is achieved.
Now let's look at an example of a flower which has a good pollination rate. Now what I mean by rate is the number of female parts that actually have pollen grains deposited on them. So if you look at this example of a well-pollinated strawberry flower, you will see these tiny little yellow beads, which are actually pollen grains, deposited on a number of female parts which are in the center of the flower. And progressively, the female parts turn brown, which indicates successful pollination. Now here's an example of a poorly pollinated strawberry flower. If you look closely, most of these stigmas are fairly clean. There are no pollen grains on them, there are no beads, and this flower did not end up in a good strawberry whatsoever.
And what better way than a taste test to prove that? When the strawberry flower is well pollinated,
It's full of flavor because it's well pollinated. Tastes really nice.
when the pollination is meh, just about okay,
It's not too bad, but it's not really going to give you the price that you can get for a really well-pollinated strawberry in the market.
and when the pollination hasn't gone well at all,
Here we go. It's garbage. It's cardboard, practically.
to help further increase yields, Sid has given Polybee a cousin. The PhenoBee collects crucial data on vast fields of crops.
Breeders care about what's the dimension of the plant, how well are the fruits growing, what's their size, what's their weight. And all of this, again, is done manually. It's very shocking that even in 2020, we have people going around with rulers and with counters to find out how many fruits there are, in a particular breeding facility. So with computer vision, we are digitalizing all of this using the images that have been collected on the drones, and to present this information to breeders in a way that they can make sense of it. By 2050, the world needs to produce 70% more food. And that is given the fact that the resources are dwindling. The walls are closing in, and the only way to solve this problem is by growing more from less. And that is exactly what polybees are all about.
Hello, how's everyone?
Can you hear me well?
Let's see.
Oh wow, cool. Wish I can do that in real life.
And definitely, I can be an actor now, I think.
It really makes you feel like one of those James Bond movie, those kind of rider.
That's a very good one.
And that's Ellen.
You're so funny.
Felt like a child with that bee.
Look at. I don't know why, I really couldn't stop laughing.
Aerogel can help me to clean aerosol.